and welcome to another edition of K's and Creations. We are focusing on a healthy 7-layer dip. One of the ways that we're making this a little bit healthier is instead of using sour cream as one of the layers, we are using a Greek yogurt with a couple of other ingredients. So the first thing that we focused on when we started this recipe was the black beans, because this does take a little bit of time to cook. So we took an onion, we cut it in half. Our recommendation is you leave the root on both sides. So when you do cut it in half, you do have two sides with the root. Go ahead and remove one side. The other side allows it to keep it together. Go in and cut it into individual slices. After you cut in slices, go ahead and cut it in half. And then from there, you do your final dice. So while we were waiting to get the other thing cut, we started our skillet, which had 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Then we went back and we started peeling our garlic. One way to easily remove the skin on the garlic is to press down with a knife. So now we've added our onion to the skillet. We're going to let that cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, stirring every so often. We decided to start focusing on the salsa. So we took 2 plum tomatoes and we cut them into little dice. So we went in, cut it in half again, and then we just kept cutting until we got to an individual dice. Added that to our bowl, which was our salsa. And then we decided to go back to our black bean mixture. So the first thing we added was our 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle powder. Then we added our 1/3 of garlic. Then we added 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. We let that cook for about 30 seconds. We finished it up with about 1/8 teaspoon of salt and some black pepper. Then we added our black beans. So now at this point, we don't really want to heat the beans. We just want to get them a little bit warm. So we added them to a bowl. From here, you're going to want to mash it down to almost like a refried bean consistency. If you have a potato masher, we ended up using a whisk in this situation. So again, we're looking for a refried bean consistency. So getting back to the salsa, we already have our tomatoes in the bowl. We took our green beans, our green onions, and we sliced them very thin, placed them in the bowl. Then we added another 1/3 of the garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle sauce powder, 1 tablespoon of lime juice, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and an 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. So then we blended that all together. And that gave us one of our other layers. So we now have, at this point, the black beans and the salsa. The corn was already put together because I just came from a can. When it comes to the avocado, which is one of the other layers, we take an avocado, cut it in half, remove the pit, go ahead and scoop it out of the skin. You want to take a fork and you're going to want to mash it together. But you're going to mash it with about a 1/2 tablespoon of lime juice, the remaining 1/3 garlic, and a little bit of salt and pepper just to give it a little more flavor. And again, we're not really, we're just trying to get so that there's flavor. We're not trying to make it like a guacamole like that, but we're going to go ahead and use a fork, mash that up. Again, that is one of our layers. So we have our tomatoes, we've got our avocado, we've got our black beans. Now we're going to start focusing on another layer, which is our Greek yogurt. So we took 1 container of Greek yogurt. We whisked in a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, a little bit of lime juice. We just want to thin it out a little bit. A little bit of salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, and then a little bit of pepper. We're going to whisk that around, and that again gives us our little bit of Greek. That gives you again a layer of our Greek yogurt. So now we're going to start layering, but the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to, as you can see, we have the corn. Add a little bit of salt and pepper to it, just to give it a little bit of like seasoning. So at this point, I'm now going over the fact that we now have a layer of yogurt, we have a layer of salsa, we have some black beans, we have some corn, we have some cheese I just pulled out, and now I'm working on the cilantro. The great thing about cilantro is you can cut the stems and the leaves. So now we're going to put this all into a bowl. I like to use a clear bowl so you can actually see the individual layers. We put the black bean first, then we put the corn, spread that around. Then we add our in this case, yogurt mixture on top of that, spread that around. And from there, we go ahead and add our salsa. Our avocados. then our cheese, and finally our cilantro for our 7-layer healthy dip. We appreciate you watching this, and hope you have a great rest of your day. And if you want to find the recipe, you can find it at plantobefit.org/blog.